Hi, welcome to Narc Shield. My name is Jennifer. Tonight, I want to give you information on the narcissistic personality disordered person in a relationship with an empathic person or codependent. I give awareness here on this channel. I am a narcissistic abuse survivor. That was from way in my past. And so if you have been coming here and watching my videos, welcome back. I hope that you've already subscribed. And if this is your first time, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, like the videos if you like them, share them if you think it'll help with someone. I am here as a survivor, just letting you know that you're not alone in what's going on with you. So I do hair. So after COVID, well, we've got COVID still going on, but I was able to go back to work. And so I've been quite busy with work and haven't been able to spend as much time on the channel that I've wanted to, but some good things have happened through it. So we had World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day on June the 1st. I did go live on my Facebook account, which I do each year, and that was great. And then when I was in the salon, as usual, people come in and they talk to me about all kinds of things. And this year, as usually every year when I go live for Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day, I do get people coming in and asking about it. But this year, I had lots of people coming in with lots of questions and concerns. And I even had people, of course, messaging me, which usually happens with all of us who give information. And it was just insightful. So I got lots of ideas of things that I really needed to talk to people about. A lot of times it's the same things because people are really confused about these types of relationships. Some people don't even realize they've been in these types of relationships, and then they hear some things and they're like, whoa, that sounds very familiar. And so I'm quick to say that, I cannot diagnose someone with narcissistic personality disorder because I am not a clinician, a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I can recognize the signs of narcissism just because I have been going through lots of therapy over the years and I've studied it a lot. And so many of us survivors who have actually been through it before feel like we have a degree in this. And I would assume that maybe even some of the psychologists and psychiatrists, behavioral therapists would say the same in some ways. However, I do believe in therapy, and so I do tend to tell people, if you need to know more and you need some help, here are some great names. I highly recommend going to a behavioral therapist or someone who knows a lot about personality disorders. And so even here on my channel, I do recommend people, and I do talk about different people that I watch here on YouTube, or if I read their books and different things like that. So I hear a lot of things in my chair, as I said, and there are many people that are going through things and they're not sure if they are in a narcissistic or toxic type relationship. And so they will kind of give me the lowdown about what's going on with them. And a lot of times it doesn't take long for me to figure out pretty quickly if it's toxic or not. And sometimes when they're kind of giving me their feedback, a lot of the stories are the same, and I recognize many things. That doesn't mean that the partner that they have been with is a narcissist or that they're a narcissist. However, I can recognize narcissistic traits or even codependent traits or empathic traits. So if you're here and you're confused, I completely understand. I have been in your shoes before. One of the things that I want to say, and I've said in other videos here, that is that if you have been in a toxic relationship with someone, you have questioned your reality before, if you are the codependent and the empath, and you have questioned whether you are the narcissistic person. I want to help clear your mind here. If you're questioning whether you are a narcissist, you're not. Narcissistic people do not self-reflect. So I hope that helps you calm the nerves a little bit. you question yourself because you may have acted out towards things that have happened with you. And the narcissistic person, they are master manipulators, and they are able to do things knowing that you're questioning and trying to figure things out and you're confused. They have manipulated you for so long that they know that they can help you to question your own reality and gaslight you into wondering if you are the crazy person. On this channel, I have different videos that describe different words that I'm using, such as gaslighting. So gaslighting is someone who tries to confuse you and make you question your reality by making you feel crazy. And so they will say things to you that make you question, like, okay, maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong, or something like that. And it's constant, and they're doing it little by little, and they'll make you question everything, in your lifetime. And what they want is to make it where you are completely dependent on them. And they really want to pull you away from your family and friends as much as they can, to isolate you to just them, so that they can control your mind, everything that you do, and so that you are looking to them for all your validation and your needs and wants. And they feel like they're the ones that are in power and control, and they're the smart ones and the great ones. And it just makes them feel very comforted. The problem is you start to lose yourself in these relationships, and you do start to question yourself. You do start to lose your confidence in yourself, and the narcissist is loving every minute of that. That's what they need to happen to get control of you. And when they are doing this, they are starting to demean you. And this is what you will hear as devalue you, because there's different phases of the relationship with the narcissist, and that is the idealization phase, the love bombing phase, and then the discard phase. And all of these things can be called different things. I say golden period sometimes, because I've read a lot from H.G. Tudor, and he says the golden period, the devaluation phase, and he says the disengagement instead of the discard, because he says, as he is a narcissist, that narcissists believe they own you, they believe that they can get you back, and they believe that the narcissistic relationship is forever. So even though the relationship may change to him, he says, all narcissists believe that the narcissistic relationship is forever, and that you are always thinking about them, wanting them, missing them, and things like that, even if that's not the case, even if you're not. He has a point, because there are things that will remind you of the narcissist, and a lot of it is the abuse. And the narcissist has a narrative in their head that they are so wonderful, and they're not realizing that that's what you may be thinking of. They may be thinking that you are missing them in other ways, but by nostalgia. And many people do have that. H.G. Tudor calls it ever-presence, but it can get us into trouble, when we think of we might hear a certain song, or we come across a card or something that they gave us, or a photo, or someone mentions them. We do think about them, and sometimes it is in a fond way, and then other times you're triggered because of the abuse. So we all we're all in a different process, going through different things. We can be triggered in different ways, but I wanted you to know that the narcissist does not ever really see the relationship as over. So when you are in a relationship with a narcissist, as I said, they want the power and control. And so they will say things about anything and everything to start to make you feel bad. So they'll slip little things in. It could be about your weight and how you need to lose weight. And you used to be this size, and I was more attracted to you then, or I prefer this. And if you would just do this, then maybe things can be like, better, and I'll look at you and feel a certain way, and you'll be like questioning yourself, like, well, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. You're absolutely beautiful just the way you are. But that is a way to make you feel bad about yourself, and to feel like you are, nobody else will want you, nobody else will be attracted to you. And it starts that psychological thing that goes within your mind. And it may even make you, some people have eating disorders because of things like this. And this can happen in your childhood and continue in your life, and maybe why you might have an eating disorder, or other disorders. A lot of things come with this type of abuse when we are trying to cope. And so that would be something that somebody that is narcissistic and trying to have power and control over your mind would say to you. They may make you feel uncomfortable when you're out, because it could be something like, I was actually writing a blog on this today. I haven't posted it yet, but you can go out with them and you're on eggshells and everything seems okay. And a narcissist, they see things in split thinking, which is black and white thinking. And so there's no gray area. And their feelings are facts. So you can be in a group of people and someone say something about, let's just say, so-and-so works at, or so-and-so lost their job and they stay home and they have gotten kind of lazy, and I don't know if they're ever going to go out and get a job again. And let's just say the narcissist is standing there and hears this, and they automatically assume that those people are talking about them if they're someone who doesn't work and stays home or hasn't had a job in a really long time. And so they may, all of a sudden now, it's like where everything seemed okay, they feel like that everybody in the group is talking about them, and they get paranoid and they feel uncomfortable and they may want to leave. And you may be having a lot of fun and not want to leave, and you're like, no, wait a minute, nobody was talking about you, they were talking about so-and-so. But because the narcissist has a fake facade, and they have been hiding who they really are to the outside world, they can get narcissistic injuries to their ego easily, and it can be from any place, any moment. And because their egos are so fragile, you may not see it coming and you may not understand it. Other people around may not understand why the narcissist is all of a sudden acting different and getting upset, walking away, getting angry, snapping off at people. There's different ways that they may react to this, and or they may slinker off and just be mad and talk really bad about everybody that was there in that group. And it's because they know the truth and they feel exposed in those moments. Even though the crowd may be talking about someone else, it is something that reminds them of themselves, and they're feeling exposed as if those people were talking about them. So they automatically see them as black, as bad. So that would be good and bad. And that's that split thinking, and they feel uncomfortable, paranoid, and they immediately want to get away and have their narcissistic injury healed as quickly as possible. So they're looking for someone's validation to make them feel better, and sometimes it's just to lash out and make somebody else feel bad about themselves. And so it may be that you could be the intimate partner or the best friend or a coworker that works closely with this person, and they turn and they lash out at you. This is the dumbest party. Your friends are so stupid. I don't know why you brought us here. You have the dumbest friends ever. And you're like, what? Like, where did that come from? and you're trying to figure out, why are you in a bad mood? What's going on with you? And the narcissist just keeps on, and they're doing that because they feel wounded and they need to feel better. And until they feel better, they're going to continue to act that way. And it can be really confusing for everyone, and it can really make that person look kind of crazy, right? The narcissist doesn't see it that way because they are better than everybody else in their mind. That narcissistic part of themselves they can't allow themselves to feel vulnerable and exposed like that. So they need to have this narrative. And why the narcissistic type personality, I guess you could say, comes forward and lashes out in that way. And so it can be quite confusing, but that's abuse. It's abuse to the person who is having to deal with it. And you're trying to defend yourself, you're trying to defend your friends or your family or your coworkers if you were at the Christmas party. You are feeling, you're embarrassed because maybe they've walked out or they're leaving, and you're trying to make an excuse for the narcissistic person that you've been with because you don't want people to think bad about them, and you're just like, I don't know what to say. And you know that people are looking at you like, what's going on? What are you doing with this person? And the narcissist can walk away and walk out of that, have their fit, and then the next day maybe see, reset and see things differently, and may want to eventually go back around those people again. And you're like scared to take them around those people again because you don't know how they're going to react. If you are nervous to take someone out into public and you just are afraid of how they're going to react in certain situations because it can embarrass you, such as it could be, going places with them, and let's just say they get thrown out of a bar or something, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe this just happened, and that they acted like that. And you're thinking, okay, does that mean I have to go too? What do I do? I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. I don't really want to go. I'm with my friends, and my friends just saw this person act like a crazy person for no real reason. Now, the narcissist is going to have their reason, and they're going to feel they are entitled to be that way. They have to have that excuse, and they're going to want you to leave with them. And if you don't, then you're going to pay the price. So you know that, but you also know that people are saying to you, don't leave because that person had to act like an asshole. That's not your fault. It's not your fault. You've been looking forward to this. You need to stay. Let them go and act like a toddler if they want to act like a toddler. You don't need to go and, soothe the toddler that is, let's just say a 55-year-old man who's acting like a 4-year-old who is holding their breath in a corner because they're upset, and now they can't go and play with all the other kids upstairs because they screwed up so bad at a party, or let's just say. So, and they don't want to see, they know when they've done something bad. So people, it's like, well, do they know that they're a narcissist? They may not know that they're a narcissist, but they know that they do stupid things like that, and that it looks bad. And so now they are trying to come up with every excuse in the world, and then they try to fumble and make it better in some way, so that hoping people forget, or they blame somebody else and come up with some other narrative. Even if people saw and they know with their own eyes, the narcissist is hoping to give some grand story enough to either make them forget about it, hope that they saw things wrong, or will just not say anything else about it so that they can move on, because that actually makes them feel better. It makes them feel like, great, okay, good, I'm back in good standing, even if they're not. And they realize when they're exposed and they don't like it, and as soon as they do feel exposed, they feel like they're going to be abandoned. And so they can act out. It is like dealing with a child who is acting out and you're trying to reason with them, and you cannot say, there's nothing you can say that is going to make it better. They will somehow blame you. They will somehow try to guilt you. They may say things like, I can never do anything right. The reason they say that is to try to make you feel bad. But what it is it's called projection. That is projection. And it's how they feel about themselves. And they know that they do these things that they know when they've been exposed. And that is something that they'll say to try to take the focus off of them. But if you're aware, then you know that they're just projecting and kind of pouting and being like the little kid, like, I can never do anything right. Stomp, 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 stomp. If you would just pay attention to me and just let me, because that's really how they are on the inside. They may not look like that on the outside. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're acting out that way. But if you call them out on something, they may act like that. And so it's really not, if you want to, engage and continue to go on and try to explain and reason with someone like that, that's an adult, that may be acting out like a child, you can do that and spin your wheels all day long. It's not going to get you anywhere. And the narcissist will go and go and go and go as long as you engage. The best thing for you to do is stop engaging, because it's going to do no good except for wear you out, and you've got better things to do, right? You need to go and have fun with your friends and talk to your friends and laugh and sing and dance or clean your house or go and make some money or whatever it is that you need to do that during your life, instead of wasting time feeding into a little tantrum that somebody is having. And let them go and figure it out on their own. They may not like it, they may get madder, but that is not up for you to fix. And, if you are a very empathic person, the narcissist has sought you out because they know that, and they know that you will find reasons to forgive them, enable them, make excuses for them. And most of the time, we do those things for them for a long time. But eventually, it does wear thin. It wears thin, and there's no more excuses to be made. And the narcissist has a hard time facing themselves and realizing that a lot of the things that have been happening is because of things that they have been doing. And it's a pattern that keeps repeating itself. And this does make them feel bad about themselves, but for whatever reason, and it's not, don't waste your time trying to figure it all out. They don't want to go and do the work. And that just is because it's too hard, and the narcissistic part of them is too ingrained and cannot face all of that stuff. But you have the power and control to do things to make your life feel better and to move on and just do what you need to do that makes you happy. Don't seek out trying to fix the narcissist, and don't feel guilty. Don't try to go and make them feel better because you're worried about them. They can kick and scream and, do all kinds of things to try to get attention from you. But that is just them trying to do whatever they can to get that attention, and you don't need to waste your energy doing it, because they will continue to try different things to get that from you, and you will just wear yourself out. And truthfully, you have better things to do in your life. And, they have done this to you and many times, and made you feel like crap, broken up with you, or told you what a piece of crap you were, or blamed you for things that weren't your fault because they needed somebody to blame, and you've been taking it. You've probably cried and begged and groveled and please don't do this, and why are you doing this to me, and that kind of thing. You don't worry about what they think about you. Don't worry about what happened. Don't worry about how it happened. Who cares if they broke up with you? I know that it hurts. Believe me, I know what it's like to go back time and time again. I know what it's like to forgive. I know what it's like to take all the blame. When you've been in a relationship with someone like this, it is toxic and will wear you out. And you will spin your wheels and it will never, ever, ever change, even if they promise you that it will. This is a pattern that has repeated itself time and time again. A narcissistic person is not someone that you really know. They don't even know who they are. And they've probably attached themselves to you and created a narrative that they're you, basically. You know, your friends are their friends, and your life was their life, and you have somehow stolen their life. They project and turn all of this around. And if you are giving them excuses and enabling them and trying to save them, then you're trying to project things of yourself onto them that they don't have empathy. If you're trying to explain to them and say, you know, can't you see that when you acted this way, it may have caused so-and-so to get a little upset. You know, it probably was inappropriate that you said that. Most people, you know, narcissistic people, they say really inappropriate things. And it can really put people off. And then the narcissist doesn't understand it because they know no boundaries. And they see it as other people are the problem. They don't see that they are. And if you're that type who's trying to fix it and you're trying to reason with them and trying to teach them, that's not going to work. You are wasting your time and only throwing yourself right into the frying pan, because they are going to then lash out onto you and say that you are on everybody else's side and not defending them, and how dare you, I'm always this for you and I would this for you, and try to guilt you and shame you and all the things that they do. And then they're just acting more like the bully and the tyrant and the petulant little child. They don't reason. You can't reason with the unreasonable. You just can't do it. They cannot see it. They might fake it at some point because they may want something, but that's even rare. It is so hard for a narcissist to stop and sit there and think about actions that they have done, and think about how they have treated people and things that they need to do to change, you know, to have better interpersonal relationships with people within their workplace, their family life, their friendships, out on the street with just normal everyday people. They insert themselves. They don't recognize social boundaries, social cues. They will stop you, and you may be in the biggest hurry of your life because you've got things to do and they don't, and time is just, you know, stand still for them. And then for you, you're in the biggest hurry. You've got 18 things you've got to go and do, and you're the nice person who doesn't want to hurt somebody's feelings, and they will sit there and talk, and you can back away and try to back away, and you may even mention that you have 10,000 things you need to do, and they just keep on and keep on because they love to hear themselves. They find themselves interesting, and they want it. And when you're listening and you're standing there giving them this attention, it's feeding their ego, because in their mind you see them as something so special and they need to feel this way. Now, it doesn't mean that you may not think they're special, but it may mean, hey, look, I got to get out of here. I've got things to do. I know you don't, but I got to go. And it's irritating because you're not listening to me and you're crossing boundaries right now, because I've tried to let you know 8 times that I'm really busy and you're not catching on to the social cues. And it can make you pull away from someone like that. People tend to pull away from people like that because you can't tell. They no matter what you say, if you even try to say it, they're going to take it so badly that they get mad at you. you're just better to just leave and let things be, and maybe start to pull away and distance yourself, because you're in the line of fire. It doesn't matter what you do. And so I had so many people coming and talking to me in my chair this past week about different people in their lives. And the crazy thing about it is that it's all so similar. It's all so similar. It doesn't matter who you're talking about, whether it be that coworker or the friend or the boyfriend or the ex-girlfriend or the husband, ex-wife, whatever. The person in the community that you hang out, the best friend, or this, the people in your crowd that you hang out with. The stories are so similar that it sounds like we're talking about the same person all the time. It really does. And that really is hard for me in sharing my channel, because so many people think that I'm talking about one person, certain people, or it could even be thinking that I'm talking about them. And I'll get questions sometimes like, were you talking about so-and-so? Or somebody will say to me, were you talking about me? And it's because it all sounds so similar. It's funny how that works out, but there are different types of narcissists. There are different, and so the relationships dynamics can be a little bit different, but a lot of the things are the same. And if you really stop and think about it, you can really recognize that you've been in this toxic relationship and that it's best to get out. It's very hard to do so. And so if you are in a toxic relationship and you're having a hard time getting out, please do look at my video that talks about trauma bonds, because that is something that you're going to have to heal to be able to move forward. And going no contact is part of that. And so many people don't understand no contact, have a hard time with no contact, think they're going no contact, and they're not. And that is why they are not healing, and they stay stuck in a place and can't move forward. That would be for the codependent and the empath. The narcissistic person can, if they have malice for you and they are more malignant, which is somebody who has more sociopathic has antisocial personality disorder mixed in with their narcissism, then they are someone who has malice and they are looking to win at all cost, and they are finding their game plan in every way to exploit anything and everything they can to harm you, to try to protect their facade. Don't give in to that. Don't react. Never react. It is best to just ignore it. It is something that the narcissist cannot stand, is to be ignored. They do not like that. Some people call that the gray rock, when you do not react. But reacting to the narcissist just gives them narcissistic supply, whether it's good or bad. They just want to be relevant. The best thing to do is to walk away and don't listen to their crap. Just stop. When you see it's toxic, don't respond anymore. Until next time, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.